Have you ever felt, well, kind of stuck? Like you're running the same loops day in and day out? According to Dr. Joe Dispenza's work in Neuroscience, there's a really good reason for that feeling. But, and this is the important part, there's also a way out. So, how do we actually do it? How do we break free? Let's get into the science of changing your mind to literally change your life.
Okay, get ready for this number, because it's a big one. The science suggests that by the time we're about 35 years old, a whopping 95% of who we are is just a program. It's a set of memorized behaviors, automatic emotional reactions, and unconscious beliefs. Think about that. Most of our day is run by our subconscious.
So that begs the question, right? If you're on autopilot for 95% of your day, how in the world do you get back in the driver's seat? How do you grab the controls and actually steer your life where you want it to go? That is the big challenge we're going to tackle.
It turns out, the biggest, most stubborn habit we ever have to break isn't smoking or biting our nails or scrolling on our phones. Nope, it's the habit of just being our old self.
So think about it like this. Most of us, when we try to change, we're using that tiny little 5%, our conscious mind. We're setting goals, making resolutions, and we mean it. But we're going up against that massive 95% of subconscious programming. It's kind of like trying to steer a giant freight train with a bicycle handlebar. It's just not going to work.
All right, so how did we get here? How did our brains get so hardwired to run on autopilot? Let's dive into the neuroscience of why we get so stuck in these familiar patterns. Just picture a typical day, right? You wake up, you grab your phone, you go to the bathroom, you drink coffee from that same favorite mug, you drive the same route to work, you see the same people who, push those same emotional buttons, and then you rush home to do it all over again tomorrow. The real question is, did your brain change at all that day? The answer is a hard no. You are just running the program.
And this all comes down to a really famous principle in neuroscience. Every single time you have a thought or you do something, you're causing a specific little network of brain cells, or neurons, to fire. And if you do it over and over and over again, those neurons build a strong, long-term connection. They literally wire themselves together, and that becomes your automatic program for that thought or that action.
So what's the end result? Your brain becomes a perfect reflection of your known, familiar life. Your environment, the people, the places, the things, it's all just turning on the same old circuits, making you think and feel in the same predictable ways. So as long as your environment is controlling how you think and feel, you are, by definition, living in the past.
But, and this is a huge but, we are not doomed to just repeat the past forever. The science is really clear on this. It is absolutely possible to break that cycle and create a brand new mind.
And the key to all of this is a fantastic concept called neuroplasticity. All this means is that your brain is not fixed in stone. It's more like clay. It's constantly being reshaped and rewired by every single thought you think. This is huge. It means you can literally change the physical structure of your brain and your mind just by thinking differently.
So this really sets up two different ways of being. You have the old self, right? It's living in the past, constantly just reacting to the outside world. The body has basically become the mind. But then you have the new self. This version is creating a future. The conscious mind is back in control, and it's thinking and feeling in ways that are bigger than any past circumstance.
And this is the core idea right here. Real, lasting change doesn't come from waiting for the money to show up to feel wealthy, or waiting for the perfect partner to feel love. No, it comes from generating those feelings from inside of you, totally independent of what's going on in your external world. Now, I know this might sound a little abstract, like, okay, great, but how do I do that? Well, there is a very practical, very scientific tool we can use, and it's not some mystical thing. It's about training your brain. And that tool is meditation.
So let's just demystify this for a second. The word meditation literally just means to become familiar with. That's it. It's the simple act of closing your eyes, shutting out your distracting environment, and starting to just observe. Observe your own unconscious thoughts, your automatic habits, and those all too familiar feelings.
So the process really breaks down into two key parts. First, you have to unlearn. By just watching your old self, those thoughts and feelings you want to change, you stop firing those old circuits. You begin to unwire them. Then you relearn. You start asking, okay, who do I want to be? And you mentally rehearse that new person. This starts to fire and wire brand new connections, essentially installing new hardware for a new mind.
You see, the moment you start to observe those old habits, something incredible happens.
You're no longer in the program. You've stepped outside of it. You've become the consciousness that is watching the program. And from that powerful place, you get to decide which new program you want to run.
And this brings us to the final and honestly the most empowering idea of all, that we can stop being victims of our past and actually start causing the future that we want.
You see, most of us live our lives based on an old model of reality, cause and effect. Something outside of us has to happen for us to feel something on the inside. We need a reason to feel happy, right? But what if we could flip that? The quantum model suggests we can. It's about causing an effect. It means that by changing your inner world of thoughts and feelings first, you can create real, measurable effects in your outer world.
At the end of the day, it's your personality that creates your personal reality. And what is your personality? It's just how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So if you want to create a new life, a new reality, you have to become a new person. You do that by teaching your body emotionally what your future feels like before it's even happened.
So, that leaves us with this final, powerful question. Can you fall in love with a future that you've only built in your mind? Can you feel it so completely that your body actually believes it's happening right now? Because if you can, the science says your brain and your body will start to change, paving the way for that new reality to find.